I'll never forget the summer I spent at Mistwood Hill. The name itself held an eerie charm, a foreboding sense of mystery that attracted me like a moth to a flame. It was a remote hill station, tucked away in the heart of the mountains, untouched by the modern world's hustle and bustle. My yearning for solitude and a break from the monotony of life had brought me to this isolated place. But little did I know that my desire for peace would lead me down a harrowing path of terror. The journey to Mistwood Hill was like something out of a dream, or perhaps a nightmare. The road twisted and turned through thick forests, the towering trees casting elongated shadows that seemed to reach out for me. As I climbed higher, the mist began to descend, cloaking the surroundings in a chilling embrace. The air grew heavy with an unnerving silence, as if the very mountains held their breath, waiting for something to happen. When I finally arrived at the hill station, the quaint cottages and the view of the sprawling valley beneath should have been comforting. Instead, a sense of unease settled over me like a shroud. The locals were friendly enough, but their eyes held a glint of caution, as if they knew something I didn't. Ignoring my apprehensions, I settled into my cottage, determined to enjoy my respite from the world. The first few days were peaceful, though an unsettling feeling of being watched never left me. I would catch glimpses of movement in the corner of my eye, only for it to vanish when I turned to look. The forest surrounding the hill station was a dense, verdant expanse, and it was easy to imagine hidden eyes observing my every move. As the days wore on, I became increasingly aware of the shadows that seemed to dance at the edge of my vision. They would flit between the trees, just beyond the reach of the mist, darting away whenever I tried to focus on them. My walks through the forest became shorter, and I would often retreat to the safety of my cottage, the feeling of being hunted growing stronger with every passing day. One evening, as the sun set behind the mountains, casting the world in a tapestry of oranges and purples, I decided to confront my fears head-on. Armed with a flashlight and a sense of determination, the shadows seemed to gather around me, the forest growing darker and denser with every step I took. The wind whispered through the leaves, carrying with it a sense of urgency that sent shivers down my spine. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being herded, guided by unseen hands toward an unknown destination. My flashlight beam quivered as my hands trembled, the forest becoming a labyrinth of twisted branches and tangled roots. Panic clawed at the edges of my mind, threatening to consume me. And then I saw it. A clearing, bathed in moonlight, revealed itself before me. In the center stood a gnarled tree, its twisted branches reaching skyward like skeletal fingers. And hanging from those branches were dozens of shadows, swaying gently in the wind. My heart pounded in my chest as I realized what I was seeing: human figures, suspended from the tree by ropes, their faces hidden in darkness. I stumbled back, my breath catching in my throat. The whispers that had been carried by the wind grew louder, forming words that chilled me to the bone. "Join us," they seemed to say, a chorus of voices that melded into one. The shadows writhed and shifted, their movements almost hypnotic. I turned and ran, my footsteps echoing through the woods as I fled the clearing. The haunting image burned into my mind. Back in my cottage, I locked myself in, my heart racing as I tried to make sense of what I had witnessed. The hours dragged on, each tick of the clock a reminder of the horrors that awaited me beyond those walls. I could still hear the whispers, faint but persistent, as if they were seeping through the very wood of the cottage. Sleep was impossible that night. Every creak of the floorboards, every rustle of the wind sent my imagination into overdrive. The darkness pressed in on me, suffocating and all-encompassing. And then a knock at the door shattered the silence. My blood turned to ice as I listened, the knocks coming in irregular patterns, as if the very air itself was pounding against the door. Summoning all the courage I could muster, I crept toward the door, my flashlight trembling in my hand. I hesitated, the weight of the moment pressing down on me like a boulder. With a deep breath, I flung the door open, revealing nothing. The night air was still, the mist hanging in the air like a shroud. But the feeling of being watched, of being pursued by an unseen presence, remained. Morning came at last, casting a feeble light over the world outside. I stepped out of the cottage, my eyes scanning the surroundings for any sign of the shadows that had haunted me. The village seemed deserted, an eerie stillness settling over Mistwood Hill. And then I saw them, figures, standing in the distance, their silhouettes dancing in the mist. With my heart pounding, I approached cautiously, my flashlight cutting through the fog. The figures were still, their faces hidden in the shadows, but I could feel their eyes on me. I shouted, my voice echoing through the valley, demanding answers. The figures remained motionless, their presence a chilling reminder of the horrors I had witnessed. As the days turned into weeks, my paranoia deepened. The whispers grew louder, more insistent, their words clawing at my mind like a relentless nightmare. I couldn't escape them, whether I was in the cottage or deep within the forest. It was as if the very land itself was alive with a malevolent force, driving me to the brink of madness. One night, unable to bear the torment any longer, I fled the hill station. I stumbled down the mountain, the mist clinging to my skin like a sinister embrace. I didn't stop until I reached the nearest village, my breath ragged and my mind a whirlwind of fear and confusion. The villagers looked at me with a mixture of pity and understanding, as if my experience was not unique. As the months passed, the memories of Mistwood Hill haunted my dreams. The shadows, the whispers, the feeling of being hunted, all of it remained etched into my mind. I returned to my old life, but the weight of that summer never left me. I sought therapy, medication, anything that could erase the terror that had taken hold of me, but it was a battle I could never fully win. To this day, I am haunted by the shadows that danced at the edge of my vision. The whispers still echo in the recesses of my mind, a constant reminder of the horrors I experienced on Mistwood Hill. I have come to understand that there are depths of fear within us, primal and ancient, waiting to be awakened by the unknown. Mistwood Hill was my descent into those depths, a journey I can never forget and a terror that will forever hold me in its grip.